Are you scooting? Excellent. Hi, this is Danielle and Jonathan with Keperling Preservation Services for today's preservation coffee break. And today we're going to talk a little bit about windows. If you have questions, let us know. But windows are an important feature of the house, and they're, I know preservation from Virginia has called them the most endangered feature of a house, which I can believe, because all you have to do is watch daytime TV, which all of us I think have gotten a chance to do a little bit more of than usual, and see all the commercials for replacement windows. I heard one the other day that was like, if your windows are more than 10 years old, you need to replace them. They're leaking and they're terrible. And you know, if you're, and the thought process is that you want to replace, they want you to replace your windows, you know, just about every, people don't live in their houses, like people move about every 7 years. So if your windows, you know, are more than 10 years old, you probably didn't pay for them. So, you know, that's the whole replacement cycle that you get into with replacement windows. And there's a bunch of reasons why they're not green or energy efficient that we can talk about. So I guess we'll start with, you know, why they're not green. You know, replacement windows are not made to be repaired. I was just sharing with Jonathan before we came on that someone had shared on a preservation page that I'm a member of, that there's a lawsuit in Oklahoma alleging that Palla's architectural series windows are defective. And the suit alleges that the design is defective. Well, when I read what they said, I said, well, I'm pretty sure that's all windows that have cladding, because that's the reason you don't want to wrap wood in metal or vinyl or anything else. So the quote from the complaint is that an investigation revealed that the defendant's architectural series or architect series windows aluminum exterior cladding, which is this is my own comment, is when they wrap the wood in metal to make it more, you know, more maintenance free, had design and manufacturing defects allowing rainwater to drip into the interior wood, and that the rainwater dripping onto the interior wood over the years resulted in rotted wood and internal destruction of the windows. We've seen that. Like, that's not something new or groundbreaking. I'm curious to see how this lawsuit goes, because this article is just from April 23rd. But that's something that happens when you wrap wood in metal or vinyl. Water will get behind it and cause it to rot, and you don't see it because it's all wrapped up. So that's one reason you don't want to wrap, you know, get clad anything. The other issue with replacement windows, and you're paying good money for Pella windows. They're high. They're not the $199 vinyl specials. Usually they're probably $1,000 an opening minimum.
Usually.
Yeah. So you should feel like you're getting, you know, good value, and they should last. But they're making them out of number 2 pine, second growth or third or fourth or whatever growth cycle they're on. But it's not the virgin timbers that came out of the first growth wood that in America. Typically the 1920s is about when the first growth was depleted in America. So any wood from 1930
for at least pine
is a better wood. Some of the woods even a little bit older than that are they're fine. They're still better than some of the wood that's being forced to grow now and starts out being milled full of bacteria and fungus and starting to rot from the inside. It just doesn't give you the durability that older growth, which is one of the reasons that makes your original windows so much better, is that they are older growth wood, so any wood that you can get now is inferior to that, and that's even using a mahogany or a Douglas fir. I know there's a couple companies out of Canada that make Douglas fir
Well, the old growth refers to, it's the original virgin timbers that were never forced to grow at all. So they
were
have,
allowed to grow naturally.
yep.
Yeah.
So, you know, something that would takes about 10 years to produce now might have taken like, you know, 80, 100 years to get the same size naturally. And because of that, the rings that are in the center, if you would cut a tree down and you
The
look
growth
at the
rings,
top
yeah.
of it down at the ring, they're tighter at going around, which is because of it has not was not forced. As it was being forced and watered and growed faster, they have bigger rings, which makes it softer. It already has the material. That's what she's talking about with virgin timbers or
Right.
old growth.
So, and then the other thing that that the windows do from a design standpoint is they help you to date the building. So typically the smaller panes, the 6/6s, 6/9s, there's different configurations. Some of them are 12/9. Like there's different configurations.
There's so many different
but
configurations.
the smaller panes of glass typically are older. Also, if the muttons, the dividers between the true divided light, if the dividers are chunkier, the profile that you see on the inside
would be wider.
That is wider and chunkier. That's older. That's more colonial. As we started to have machines that could manufacture, make some of the moldings and things for us. That's how we got the fancier Victorian moldings. There was more mass production. We'll use mass production loosely because it wasn't like what we would think of as mass production, but it was being able to produce and shipped. Then you got the more narrow, skinnier, and you also got bigger pieces of glass. The glass got a little bit less wavy. You still have waves and bubbles, but it's not as highly figured as what is in the what would be in the colonial windows, where they were actually like blowing it by hand, and it was less, or blowing it, like, you know, with their mouths, and it was less of a production. And the joinery. So, and Jonathan can talk about the joinery. And joinery has changed even through colonial to Victorian to the early 19th or early 20th century. But the joinery is still superior to anything that you can get in a replacement window.
Yeah, when we make a window, I still do it so that it's done the traditional colonial way, through mortise and tenons for at least the main frame. Then it depends on, do you want the muttons to be going the whole way through or not? Some people want it because it looks traditional, and on some places you need to have that to make it look right. A lot of times if I had a choice, I don't do it because it creates another crack in it that allows
for water
to get in, especially at the common rails or wherever it's open. And but you know, I still glue it though, and I use square wood pegs, you know, and put them in. Then it's not going to move even when the glue does fail, because it's modern glue. I mean, even traditional glue like horsehide would wear off, but the benefit of that is you could just add more to it without having to sand it and everything. Right. But but then as you get newer, they went to like stub tenons. They even do screws.
Or like lap tenon. Is that a lap? Is that what that would, like the early 20th century?
A stub tenon is like, it only goes in a little bit, not the whole way through.
Right. No, but I meant the lap ones, the ones that like it's like a slot and it slides in like that. Like ours, I think. Ours are like that.
That's more like a finger joint.
Okay.
But it is designed. It's better than a finger joint because it's not a bunch of them, and it does have a mortise that goes through it, and it's still pegged.
Right.
But it's still not superior to the original mortise and tenon. It's like the best. It's the simplest design, but it's also the best design for bang for your buck for pretty much anything, face frames or whatever. And but as you get newer, the stub tenon even gets smaller and smaller, and they just use staples and glue.
Right.
And
they
rot so fast.
And the modern windows are not able to be taken apart. Like the windows, the original windows and windows up until probably right around World War II, were able to be taken apart component by component, and you could replace a piece. Like you could replace a rail or a stile or a piece that's broken, and that makes it, you know, more green than having to replace the entire window unit. Susan, thank you for joining us. Oops. Oh, maybe I did. Maybe I have to unmute you. Hold on, just a second. I don't know what I'm. Where? Oh, here. Oh. Okay. Now you're unmuted if you want to be. So, okay. So, and then thinking about windows again. So we suggest three different ways to approach your windows. Typically, we encourage restoration. So if you have original windows that have been there 100, 200 years, they're most likely able to be repaired. I have not seen a window that has not been able to be repaired. And there were some pretty bad ones at Franklin Street Station in Reading. And that building had been in disrepair for 40 years. There were dead things on the floor. There was water on the floor. It was really bad. And as long as the window pieces were there, we were able to restore them. And what couldn't be restored, we fabricate it. The next step that we do is we do, as Jonathan mentioned before, we do manufacture sash, and we can manufacture that, the same way that he was talking about, the traditional joinery, traditional single pane. We find reclaimed glass. We put, we do all of that, or we have done some with insulated glass units that are still true to Violet light, that it's harder to see. It is chunkier, but it's harder to see the difference than if it's like a true replacement window. From an energy efficiency standpoint, though, a regular window, a regular well-maintained wood window with weather strip and a tight fitting storm is the same energy efficiency as a modern replacement window. The only benefit to doing it with the double insulated glass is you don't have to have the storm window then, unless you want screens.
Yeah, but
but you can.
But the downfall to that is the glass seal usually only is warranted for 1 year.
Yeah, the glass seal does fail, but that warranty also is included in your replacement window. Like the replacement window warranty for the air or the gas, it still is only usually a year or two also. And then if we do have to do replacement windows, we try to recommend, matching the configuration, the size. They have what they used to call sash inserts. They're calling them something else now, but you just replace the inside rather than the entire frame and everything, so you can maintain that size. And we typically recommend two companies that are from Canada that are using better wood than the pine. And they offer longer warranties. So that's what we do when we're not, we say practical preservation, because we try to give people options and give them our opinions, but then it's your house and you're the stewards of it, so you have to make the decision.
Yeah, and just replacing your windows really only makes sense is if you want to have them tilt in and clean.
Yeah.
They're energy efficient. Even from an auditor that is reputable in it will tell you that is the only way you should change your windows to those styles.
Yeah.
But even, let's get real, I don't know, I haven't seen very many with tilt-in windows that they actually clean. So especially after a few weeks after they get them. So.
The Tamison from Pure Energy, she would often say, do you want new windows, or do you want energy efficiency, because they're not the same thing. And they have done tests where it would take like 30 to 50 years to recoup the energy savings from replacement windows versus the windows that are there. And some of that's embodied energy, but some of that is also the fact that your walls are negative plane, and so your you're only losing maybe 10% of your heating and cooling from the wall through the walls. And so when they say they're going to reduce your heating and cooling costs by 50%, well, that's only 5% of your heating and cooling costs. So if you figure that out over the time frame, you know, it is a lot. It would take a lot of time and money to recoup that cost.
And we got studies that are about 2 inches thick that we printed out that
I have
pretty much say that, you know, in that 50 years that it would take to recoup your money, you would have to actually have your replacement windows last 50 years.
And they won't.
And they won't. They'll last you maybe on average of 7 to 10. 10 being the higher ends, 7 being or less or lower.
This is the earliest report that we have. There's a couple other ones too, but this is from the University of Vermont. It's the testing for energy performance of wood windows in cold climates, and their engineering department did this test to show the energy efficiency between original windows with that have been weatherized and
interior exterior
and replacement windows. So that's what I had to talk about today with windows and my thoughts on windows. If you have any questions, let us know. Otherwise, we'll wrap up and see everybody. Are you there?
Mm-hmm.
Oops, hold on. I think my thing's down. Oh, okay. Now I can hear you. Jonathan pointed out that I pushed the wrong button. I'm sorry. Did you have any questions?
Not yet.
Okay. Well, very good. Well, thank you for joining us.
Sure. I'm interested in getting things started, but we're still waiting to get final ownership on our house. So.
Oh yes, it's a process.
Yeah, it's tied up in an estate.
Oh goodness.
For 4 years.
Yes, I think I remember now. You're in Mount Joy, is that correct? Yes. Okay. Yes. See, sometimes I can go through my brain and remember things.
I heard it may be in a couple of months.
Oh, that's exciting.
Yes, and so then we need to start figuring how to do it. So.
Okay. Okay. Well, very good. Well, if you have any questions or anything, let us know. We're happy to help, and we'll we'll keep putting out our information, and hopefully it helps you.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.